I'm Bruce Marshall. This is the Brampton Now Update for the week ending the November 21st, 22nd weekend 2020. Your concise summary of everything important that's happened in Brampton the previous week and what's coming up. What the Toronto outlets don't have time to tell you about where you live. Coming up, back into lockdown in Peel. The medical officer of health for Peel with his plea. Mayor Patrick Brown comes to the defense of Brampton Covid Hot Spots, and a major funding announcement for Downtown Brampton Infrastructure. Details on that and more coming up in this Brampton Now Update. Here's what's happening in Brampton. 3:37 p.m. on Friday, the Premier made the announcement that everyone was dreading. Peel is back into lockdown on Monday, along with Toronto.
Effective Monday, November 23rd at 12:01 a.m., Toronto and Peel will be moved into lockdown.
Peel's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Lawrence Lowe, likewise pulled no punches this week at the Brampton City press conference.
So for the next 2 to 4 weeks, though, I must ask again, please stay home as much as you possibly can. Limit your close contact within 2 meters to those that you already live with, or 1 or 2 essential supports. Outside the home, please meet virtually or postpone if you can. Don't socialize, don't have people over, and please don't hold or attend any large gatherings.
Lowe went on to weigh the benefits.
If we reduce our contacts, we will stop transmission and protect our vulnerable, our workforce, and our diverse community. We must stay apart to get ahead. With hope of the vaccine faintly in the distance, now is not the time to give up.
So clearly, we have to be careful in Brampton. But just because we have some hotspots doesn't mean we have irresponsible people. Mayor Patrick Brown went on a bit of a tear at the press conference this week in defense of those in a corner of Brampton who show high COVID numbers. Many of the people in that corner of the city are also frontline workers who have been exposing themselves to COVID for the greater good.
Brampton makes up some of the highest percentages of essential workers. And if you look at the particular area that was highlighted in the Toronto Star article, this has one of the highest levels of factory workers, people that work in industrial settings, essential workers in transportation logistics, food processing. These are unsung pandemic heroes. And rather than finger pointing people that are taking on necessary work, I really believe we need to say, what can we do to support them?
In a moment, Peel's Chief Medical Officer of Health weighs in on a couple of issues. There have been some businesses that have stonewalled the health department. That dangerous nonsense won't continue. And while we had some well-publicized violations over the Diwali weekend, from the city's perspective, there was wide respect for the rules among those celebrating Diwali. All of that ahead on the Brampton Now Update. This is the Brampton Now Update. I'm Bruce Marshall. Here's what you won't hear from any other broadcast. The Diwali weekend in Brampton was a huge success. Yes, in spite of a couple of goofball incidents that caught the attention of Toronto media, we had wide compliance here in Brampton. That was no accident. Mayor Patrick Brown.
We actually had a conference call with all the Gurdwaras and Mandirs the night before Diwali, and we had a really, really collaborative approach. Really happy that the gatherings were so minimal.
Peel's Chief Medical Officer of Health echoed the mayor's perspective.
I was grateful for the feedback received ahead of Diwali and 𝗕𝗺 𝗺 last weekend, and am heartened that so many Bramptonians limited their celebrations to those that they already live with. As we continue to dialogue, we will work together to avert a crisis.
And while reality is that the Brampton faith community, including those celebrating Diwali last weekend, have been mostly compliant, The same can't be said for our businesses. The Peel Health Department has had to issue an order compelling businesses to comply with their measures. Called a Section 22 order, it mandates businesses to go along or face a $5,000 per day fine.
Our order directs employers to cooperate with our investigations and protect their workers if COVID-19 is detected in their workplace. There are many employers who have taken steps to protect their workers, and I thank you. This order is not directed at you. However, we have seen too many businesses refuse to cooperate with our investigations, take precautions on their sites, or allow sick employees to self-isolate with the confidence that their pay and their job is secure. That's simply not right.
Where a business fails to comply with the health department, the provincial Labour Ministry will also be brought in to deal with the threat as a health and safety issue. In a moment, big federal money promised for the big Downtown Brampton Infrastructure project, Riverwalk. And we check in on how the city is pivoting services for youth. Details on that coming up on the Brampton Now Update.
This is your invitation to go beyond sightseeing, to engage in our traditions. Come experience something new, yet centuries old, and give in to your sense of adventure. Experience our country's history and heritage. Discover your authentic Indigenous experience at indigenous-tourism.ca.
I'm Bruce Marshall. This is the Brampton Now Update. Big federal money for Riverwalk in downtown Brampton this week. Riverwalk is designed to take control of the Etobicoke Creek that winds through downtown Brampton, which still presents a serious flooding hazard in downtown Brampton. As well as solving the water issues, Riverwalk is to lead to a massive expansion of residential and commercial space in downtown Brampton. Mayor Brown from the weekly press conference.
I want to start off today by acknowledging the contribution of the federal government. We had a great announcement this morning with Minister Catherine McKenna, the federal infrastructure minister, who announced funding for Brampton's critical Riverwalk project, which will unlock the potential of our downtown, allowing for greater density and economic development. Thank you, Minister McKenna, for that $38 million contribution.
The city has also been looking to redirect their youth services to be more effective during the various pandemic measures. Over the past couple of weeks, the city has engaged youth with a few town halls, asking what youth hubs should look like. Mike Jovie, Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Club, is one of the organizations advocating for youth.
So Brampton's about to embark on a fantastic opportunity moving forward for future generations as part of their 2040 vision. Brampton is in the process of talking with youth like you and other community members about the youth hubs, 2 sites at the South Fletcher's location and at Century Gardens. As the Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Appeal, I'm very excited to see the city moving forward aggressively and proactively with this initiative.
And Mike talked a little bit more about what he saw the youth hub looking like.
Everything that the city needs around these youth hubs is going to be essential. And yes, seniors are essential to youth. It's important that our youth understand past generations and what it means to be moving forward as the next leaders in our community. So great job to the City of Brampton for taking this positive initiative moving forward, and the Boys and Girls Club Appeal looks forward to being your partner now and into the future.
In a moment, what's ahead in Brampton this weekend and the coming week? Plus, ahead, my Marshall rant coming up on the Brampton Now Update. You're watching Brampton Now Update. I'm Bruce Marshall. This weekend and ahead in Brampton, the 2020 Christmas season gets underway this weekend with the Brampton Winter Lights Festival. The now drive-through Christmas lights at Gage Park are sold out. The tree lighting takes place Friday and the Santa Claus Parade is on Saturday. And of course, all these are now online affairs. Sadly, the Christmas market that was to be held downtown has now been canceled. Go to brampton.ca for more information. William Osler Health System Foundation has launched its first ever 50/50 lottery to raise funds for equipment. You can purchase 50/50 lottery tickets at osler5050.ca. The grand prize draw takes place Saturday, with the winner being announced at the Osler Foundation's virtual gala benefit concert, a free virtual show with Jessica Holmes and Sarah McLachlan on Saturday. You can register for the complimentary virtual benefit concert by visiting oslerconcert.ca. Boys and Girls Club of Peel has started soliciting donations for their Christmas hamper program. You can go to bgcpeel.org for info on how you can help out. The Journey Neighborhood Center, with 2 Brampton program locations, opened a thrift store in downtown Brampton. Journey Thrift is on Nelson Street near the YMCA. Brampton Music Theatre continues a fundraising concert called Catch the Ace. It's at bmtcatchtheace.ca. BMT also continues online training programs and concerts on their website at bramptonmusictheatre.com or like them on Facebook. Monday, budget deliberations start at Brampton City Council. The city is looking at an increase in taxes, the increase mostly happening in regional costs. The budget is expected to be finalized on December 9th. Go to brampton.ca/budget for more information. Coming up, the Marshall Rant. Lockdown. Here we go again. Next on the Brampton Now Update. I'm Bruce Marshall. This is the Marshall Rant. Well, we're back at it. Lockdown. Did you think we'd get back to this? If you didn't, with all due respect, you weren't paying attention. This is the way pandemics behave. In many ways, we're much further ahead than we were 100 years ago with the flu pandemic. Medical science has given us some advances, but I think as much of an influence has been communication technology. If there's an outbreak in some remote place that you've never heard of, you're going to learn that place's name pretty quick. That's communication technology that has done that. But what hasn't changed since the outbreak 100 years ago is that we have to rely on the behavior of people to make a difference. How people act will make the difference here, increasingly, as this moves forward. 100 years ago, they'd just come out of World War II, 100 years ago, they'd just come out of a world war. 100 years ago, they'd just come out of a world war. In one sense, you could say that they were more used to towing the government line. But you may also suppose that they were exhausted after 4 years of doing what the government told them to do during the war. What will make a difference here is how we can or can't consider others, because that's what controlling spread is all about, considering others. Yes, there are vaccines in the pipe. First one, then another, both very promising sounding, but we have to get there first, and we'll get there with these measures. I don't know why, but I keep thinking of the soldiers who went off to World War I, but I do. They stood for weeks in ankle-deep water. Relief was getting out of those trenches to be shot at by the Germans. On Tuesday next week, it will be 102 years since my own grandfather was put in hospital. He was fresh off the French battlefield, had done his part, and now he was a victim of the flu pandemic. He'd spend a month in hospital and wouldn't be home to Canada until the following April. And those who are asked to wear a mask think they're making a personal sacrifice? Please. The fact is that there has seldom been so little asked of people. Wear a mask, keep your distance, wash your hands, get tested. While I know many are talking about the mental health effects of pandemic measures, this isn't anything like what they went through during war, even here on the home front. Still, make sure you stay connected. If you haven't got those personal supports safely in place, now is the time to reach out and do that this weekend. And don't forget, too, that the City of Brampton has many services to offer, starting at their website at brampton.ca. What do you think? Leave your comments below or get back to me. I'm Bruce Marshall, and that's it for this week. Please subscribe to the Brampton Now Update channel on YouTube or follow #MarshallMinute on Facebook for lots of Brampton need to know that you won't find anywhere else. Your comments and suggestions are always welcome, and if you've got a Brampton story to tell, get in touch with me through the channel you're watching on right now. Stay strong, Brampton. Brampton strong. We're all in this together. I'm Bruce Marshall. Thanks for watching Brampton Now Update.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.